Hello, friends. It's Diane, the Creative Inkster. Pardon me while I get the camera squared away here. As I was lifting it up to move it from the one side over into position, I pulled down on the lever and the whole thing started to get a little wonky. There we go. I think we're in business now. Welcome. It's Monday, August the 7th, so it is the first Monday in August 2023, and I am doing something new called, I guess, casing myself or blast from the past. I don't know, I haven't really come up with the proper catchy term for it. But basically, I am going to be looking at cards I have done in the past or perhaps received as swap cards, because I'm honestly not sure if I actually made this one or not. And I'm going to recreate with new products or current products. So, how did this come about? Well, let me tell you. I have about 1,200, I estimate, cards in various boxes that I send out, many of which were categorized by birthday, thank you, thinking of you, that kind of occasion. And I decided I really need to go down through them, weed them out, decide which kind of occasions I need to design cards for, and donate a bunch away. So going through all of these cards, and that's not even Christmas cards, folks, 1,200 I estimate I touched over the past week and a half, and I have set aside a good 300 to 400 to donate away, and a bunch that I took apart. So when I took those cards apart, I ended up with some of this, but not all of this. But I took a whole bunch apart that I'm just really not going to send out or use, that I can't use. And I've got all these backs, and I've been working all weekend using some. So a lot of more of these are gone. And this is my handy dandy sorting thing. So you can get these at Dollarama. It's a bamboo cutlery tray. And so you could stand it up either way, either end or flat, like I've got it here. My friend Tamara at Tamara's Paper Trail was sharing how she found it there, and it's perfect for that. All right, back to the card. So this one was made with artistically inked. That's where the hello and the floral stamp and the coordinating dies from this set. They're called artistic dies, so that gives you this really nice leaf here and the flower. And this is a pop or flip up card. Okay, it's a standard base, like it's not going to stand up on its own. It's going to stand up with the front piece like this. But if someone puts it on their mantle or on their kitchen with a magnet onto the fridge or something, it works great for that. And there's lots of space to write your message. And if you decorate the inside, you can always put a piece of white on the back and put your message on the back. All right, and so I wanted to recreate this guy. So Artistically Inked is still a current, hi Kathy, current stamp set, and was a bundle, and the dies are still available. But I decided I wanted to play with color and contour. So the reason for that is this stamp set I haven't used in a very long time, and that I can remember, at least the flowers. And the die that's on here, this rectangle, it comes from the same die set that goes with color and contour. They're called Scallop Contours dies. And it's a set, I'm trying to get them here so you can sort of see them. It's a set of rectangles with stitching and scallops. And they have a little bit different on each side. So this one has where it kind of cuts through there, like that. Anyhow, I just thought, hi Brenda, I thought that I would try to recreate this card. So I did that one ahead of time. And, oh, and this Scallop Contours also has a die cut for this flower and this flower here. So I made this one, and that's the one that I showed the picture of. And you can see how pretty it is. It flips up like this. There's that same die for the greeting. You could use anything you have. And then there's this pretty flower with the die cut out. Now I added some Wink of Stella to make that sparkle a little bit. sort of see if I can get that to show on the camera. There we go. A little bit of sparkle on the leaves, or the flower petals, and I used your Absolutely Amazing. Now it just barely fit in there. The hello worked a little bit better there. And I've got all the pieces and all the measurements, and I'm going to make another one with you. So I'm going to tuck those over as reference points. This time I'm going to use Irresistible Blooms. So this is not in any catalog. This is in our online exclusives. Oh yeah, the dies but not the stamp set. I know, but the dies are amazing, Kathy, for this. I mean, I use them a lot. I mean, they're set out on my board. And so yeah, I find sometimes when we get some dies that have items like rectangles and circles and such, or I guess shapes, you can get by not necessarily needing the stamp set because you'll use these for so many other things. And I think you could die cut this out even without the stamp set and make it like a black, with black or very dark blue cardstock, and that would make a nice like silhouette on a card, so it's something that you would not, it would not be wasteful. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you have this bundle. Okay, sorry, maybe it was the other one you were mentioning. Anyway, but very, very cool. All right, so Irresistible Blooms is not in any catalog. This is in our online exclusives, and it's this very pretty stamp set with coordinating dies. And the dies, once again, they have something special and different about them. Lots of leaves and floral cutouts for the actual stamps. Then this one, which is quite lovely and I've used a lot, will die cut out, I think it die cuts out the whole circle, and then these sort of edging pieces. And then this one does a vertical cutout with circles. So I've used that, not what I'm showing you about today. And so let's get our supplies out and let's make a card together. I hope you like this idea. I kind of thought it would be fun to try casing myself and at least going through the bucket that I've identified of cards that I could do for this. So that was part of that purging. So once I purged all those cards, I had this pile for donation, which was a nice big pile. These ones sorted by occasions and as cards that I will use. The ones that I'm using for ideas like these, and the ones that I cut up, the ones I cleaned up. So there you go. Okay, so we need a few important pieces, and I didn't want to bring the die cutting machine in and stuff close at hand here, so I've done some die cutting ahead of time. All right, here's our card base. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So once again, like these, that is your piece. It's the front piece that will help it stand up. You could do a full card back panel, and I'd suggest an easel. If you wanted this to be like that, I think that's probably a little bit more than you need, but there you go. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. All right, so this is gray granite. And then this white panel is 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to go on the front. Well, we don't want to glue it down first because we need to get this flip piece going. So what I did for the flip piece is it's 5 1/2 by 2 3/4. I mean, it really doesn't matter. I think these ones I made a little bit different width. These were, oh no, 2 3/4. So I did follow it exactly. So at 5 1/2, because I want it to cover the white panel, I scored it down at 1/4 inch from the edge. All right, so we have a 1/4 inch score line here. So let's fold that score line over, and we'll grab our bone folder, because we know from the video I did the other Friday how important the bone folder tool is in your stash. Now, one thing you'll find when you glue it behind there is it's going to want to stay open and up because the little tab is under here, and you know, it's not going to want to lie flat right away. That's okay. All right, so we take our white, and our goal is to glue this in place, centered left to right along the white, and then we're going to glue it down onto the card base. And I did play with this, and I found that no matter what I did, you see a little bit of the white at the bottom. That's okay, I'm cool with that. I guess that would be a 1/16 of an inch to add to it, but that just seemed like an awful lot of work. So I'm going to put the glue along here. Get our liquid glue out, which I was using last night, but I feel like it's nearing its, pretty much nearing the end. Oh, there is some left. Okay, so I'm going to put a bead of that down there. and I'm going to get the right side, the nice side. You know when you cut paper and you've kind of got that, the side that curls around? Well, I want that towards the back. And I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to glue the whole thing down. So if it's not perfectly positioned in the center, I can lift it and move it over a little bit more. So you don't have to get fussy with this. All right, so that's pretty much centered. 8 is the center mark. So this piece is 4 inches across. So that's 1/2 inch and a 1/16, no, an 1/8. There we go. Okay, so that's in place. Now we're going to put glue on all of the white back, including where this flips over. Okay, and then we're going to glue it down. Still want to do that gluing down first, and then you're like, oh, how do I make my mechanism work? I suppose if you goof up and you do that, because certainly I've done that. Yes, it is gorgeous paper. Then you can love, not live. Then you could put it right over the whole main thing, but I wanted to hide it a little bit, so totally cool. Alrighty, so flip this guy up, get it the same color here, which is gray granite. I'm going to center this white piece. Okay, there we go. So now the paper, Irresistible Blooms, also has some pattern paper that goes with it, and I didn't check, I meant to check before going live that this paper was still available. All the stuff in the online exclusives, it's there while it lasts, and I think it's still available, but you know, you can find something else that goes just equally as nice. Anything else with florals or with gingham or something like that, whatever's in your stash. So I just thought this is such pretty dainty paper. I wanted to go with this. Yeah, and I loved this paper that went with this artistic set. That was hot. That paper was big time out of stock and just loved by everybody. All right, so this piece to fit on the gray granite flip-up panel is 2.5 by 5 1/4, right? Let's double check that. 2.5 by 5 1/4. So it will go right flush to the bottom of the gray and then have the border on the left and the right. You could leave another border at the top and the bottom, but I just really kind of like how this lays right down, and you just have those strips like this. I think it looks really nice like that. All right, here's our greeting. So I did exactly the same die. You could use any shape you like. And I did glue it all the way down, but I'm going to pick some kind of greeting from here. And I was thinking, hooray, it's your day, because when I went through all these cards, the one thing I realized was I am a little low on birthdays. I know you can kind of make do with birthdays. I have a lot of thank yous, but birthdays I'm a little bit lower on, and birthdays is probably the cards I send the most. So hooray, it's your day. Let's get our scratch paper out here, Diane, because we're going to take a little test run to make sure that we're inked up real nicely. Move you out of the way. All right, so when I use a clear mount stamp, or a cling stamp I should say, that is the red rubber and the foam here, I don't always trust that I've put the label on correctly. I've recently done a video on how to help you do that, so I'm doing that way better now than I used to. But sometimes they're a little askew or crooked. And so what I do is I take the grid paper, or any paper you have with, you know, grid lines, and I line up the bottom of the stamp. And if I see that whether that's going to come straight, and then I know I don't have to titch it up to the left or the right a little bit. All right, coolio, we're ready to go. Ink it up. Hooray, it's your day. I'm going to put it in the bottom left. Super. Very pretty. And then I've already die cut. I don't know if you do this too, but when I take my stamp sets, first of all, I put these sheets in here from Dollarama. They come two in a package. I reuse them too. And so I have the dies that fit on there, and any excess ones can go in the little pocket. But I also sometimes will die cut extras, and when I have that, I just slide them in here and keep them in my case. And that way, because they fit perfectly with the stamps, I have them all where I need them, and I give them a little red dot, and that lets me know that it is a die bundle. So when I go look on my shelf, I'll know that there's got dies that go with this. If it's got a blue dot, it has a coordinating punch. And now if it's dies like these though, just sharing my process a little bit, these have a little hook on them, and they stay up on my magnetic board by the die cutting machine, because I use these all the time with any stamp set. So that's how I kind of delineate between those ones. So because of that, I had a leftover flower, which I can put here, which is very similar to this one. So we're following the plan of duplication or casing, and I cut two of the leaves that match, so this will look nicely with that set there. So I'm going to put a little glue. Actually, I'm going to take a little tear and tape, because I don't want sticky glue there. I'm going to put this at the base of the flower. Let's see, where is the base of the flower? Right here. And put a little bit of tear and tape. I'm a little bit better with tear and tape than I am with Stamp and Seal and Stamp and Seal Plus. And we'll just put two of the leaves, stick them on there. Okay. And then I wanted to add this little bit of twine, so I grabbed my linen thread. So I have a bunch of spools of it all in one bag here, and you may have seen my video with the bone folder tips, and one of them is when your twine is kinky like this and you want to straighten it out, just put the twine between your bone folder and your thumb and pull straight across. And while not perfect, but you can see that it helps straighten it out, so it's not all twisty. And I'm going to now twist it in the way I want it to be twisted. I'm going to go by 3 fingers, but I kind of spread them apart a little bit. I'm going to go 3 times around. You see I caught that little twisty part again. And we're going to glue this down here. Let's see how this is going to look. I'm just pushing it down. It's called a nest. I'm just going to push it down. Now I could have some more tear and tape, or I can take my Stampin' Dimensionals and just put them right over top. Right over top. And that's going to help hold them in place. Snip this little guy off. So that's the end. There we go. Tuck that away for the next project. Probably need another dimensional or 2 here, just so everything stays put. Oh, that's what I was going to show you. When you do this like this, you want to make sure that when you put your dimensionals down, they're not hanging off the edge. Because I found that when I did this one, it's a much smaller design than this larger flower. So I want to make sure it's not hanging over the edge. So I'm going to pull this guy up. I'm just going to move him over a little bit. Still going to do the job I need it to do. All right, so I'll peel the backings off of this. I love having tips and learning quick and easy tricks to make my card making more successful. I hope you do too. All right, I'm going to snip off that little tail piece because that's going to bother me. I don't like that little tail piece sticking there. There we go. All right, this is going to go down in place right here. And nothing is sticking over the side. Perfect. And then I can glue this into place. Now I did not pop this up. I put liquid glue on it and just put it down in place. So I don't want to go all the way across because it is a little bit wider than my paper, but paper to paper, it's pretty easy just to place it in the middle, some in the middle, and not have it squish out the sides. And we need to add some kind of embellishment. So I'm just looking over here. What have I got? Classic matte dots in gray. I do. We don't have any embellishments in soft sea foam. And I have the Stampin' Blend, and normally I would color if I didn't have anything specific. But the soft sea foam is very, very light. So I'm just going to grab a couple of the gray dots because they're going to match here pretty nicely. Maybe one smaller one. My classic matte dots, I just have a few left. There we go. Well, I guess I could put one in the center of the flower, but you get the idea. All right, so that's me casing me. I hope you like this feature. I'm looking forward to it. It's giving me ideas of things that I can do that I thought were great ideas in the past, and just replicating them, changing things up a little bit, and sharing it with all of you. So thank you for watching. I hope this inspires you. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye for now.